We're now joined by our correspondent in Lesotho, Rapelang Radebe. Rapelang, a very good evening. Thank you so much for joining us and a warm welcome to the late edition.
Evening to you, Simpiwe. Good to meet you again.
Likewise, sir. Now, first of all, can you paint us a picture of what internet access and digital connectivity looked like in Lesotho prior to Starlink's arrival?
Absolutely. Lesotho is relatively well connected, but that is provided you are in the right area. If you are in town, you remember I did a story the other time where the other network operator, Vodacom, launched and tested the 5G, which was at that time mind-boggling speed to see, but others have also now caught up. But these services are only available if you are in the urban areas. The problem still relies once you leave the perimeter of the town, it becomes a problem. So I think this is where your Starlink now will take over the opportunities.
And we've just heard, the officials and the authorities in the insert that we've just played a short while ago, heaping praises on Starlink and the kind of impact it will have on the country's internet connectivity. But why is the launch of satellite-based broadband such a significant development for Lesotho, both in the urban and the rural areas?
I think you're absolutely right. Because of a lot of, I think, hype that took place prior to their launch, they felt that they needed to clarify a lot of things so that people can fully appreciate what it is that they are doing and as to what is the difference between the services that they offer and what is currently being available on the table. But also it was to announce that there are other services that they do provide other than just your basic internet link. Like they are going to have major investment regarding the artificial intelligence data centers, of which Lesotho, because of the high altitude and the very cold nature of Lesotho, they said it's a bonus, it's an advantage to them because it means they use very less electricity to cool down those huge servers.
And from what you've observed or heard so far, how is the speed and the reliability of Starlink's internet service compared to the existing providers in Lesotho?
Yeah, I think I was trying to find a relevant example, and it's like if you are taking a sip of a drink from a straw versus when you have to use the municipality pipe to drink the same juice.
Really?
That is how massive the difference is. I mean, I think I have a relatively good 5G internet. The highest is 50 megabytes. But the speeds that we were able to get last night went as far as 350 megabytes. Now, they are saying it will vary slightly, but they are saying at that speed, I mean, you could probably load the entire show that you are doing, and I can download it in less than 2 minutes.
Jeez, impressive, man. And are there any early testimonials or even reactions from users who connected for the first time last night, especially in the previously underserved regions?
Absolutely. They say they went to, he mentioned one of the schools in Hamakunyapani, where they said they were donated some computers, but those computers have really never worked because they hardly see any speed at all of internet. But they said the children were literally amazed because they were asked to go into a YouTube and to try and see. I think they will ultimately lose the meaning of the word buffering because they will no longer know what buffering means because of such incredibly high speed. But some of the testimonials came from a company that came from Botswana that said they were assisted during the time of the floods. And the testimonials were quite mind-boggling also because they were witnessing speeds they've never seen before. So I'm saying this takes us a step higher because schools can now connect, hospitals can now connect, and access to education mostly, I think, is what will make a difference in ordinary people's lives.
And speaking of schools and hospitals, how do the stakeholders in education, small business, and even agriculture view this development? Do you foresee it reshaping opportunities in these sectors?
Indeed, if you listen to the speech of the acting prime minister, who is Professor Rapelang Radebe, he's also the Minister of Education. He said there has been a huge disparity between the schools that are in the urban districts and others who are in the rural. They are simply not able to cope up. Some of them even go to university and have never touched a computer, never mind try to understand how it works. So he said this digital divide can now actually be the thing of the past, because even if you have a device, there is no use if you cannot have a fast, reliable, and affordable internet. So he says this is a miles of difference, because the cost was also an issue of which they said they want to make it accessible to an extent that it will probably be cheaper to buy a loaf of bread if you can access than to access the internet. So they were saying it's going to be as affordable as anything. So the cost will not be a factor in this instance. And they want to also have the Wi-Fi hotspots, which will be put all over the country, all over the place, in key places, such that everyone from the shepherd boys can actually have a chance in sending a WhatsApp for if I may say.
All right, Rapelang, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're still yet to hear, obviously, from the traditional telecom providers in Lesotho. I would imagine frowning upon Starlink's arrival in Lesotho. I mean, seeing Starlink as a competition rather than an opportunity, of course, to expand their own service. But lovely chatting to you, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right. The Kingdom of Lesotho has now joined in on the new era of the high-speed connectivity, utilizing the first satellite-based broadband. That was Rapelang Radebe, SABC correspondent in Lesotho.